with Cardinals and 49ers. So the Cardinals got the win there. And I said after we talked about the games Monday, there was probably one team that was happier than any other team. That was probably the Cardinals,
right.
Going to San Francisco, beating a team that was 13-1 or 13-3 last year, all the way to the Super Bowl. But problems for the 49ers. You know, you can maybe chalk this one up as first week. It's no team's going to have it all together in the first week.
That's right. They're banged up. Let's not forget about that.
Up.
A lot of injuries. Yep.
But Jimmy G didn't look great.
Right.
And we got this question from Gobbledygook49, who said, how much of Jimmy G's performance was due to the poor wide receiver play?
Yeah.
And how much was his poor passing?
Yeah.
So you looked at the film.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'll say. Just right off, number one comment. It wasn't that bad by Jimmy G.
Okay.
He played solid football. He really did. Are there a few plays where I'd go, man, you should throw a better football here, or don't get off this read. It's there. You know, why did you flip to the other side? Sure. There's no doubt about it. I think, though, all in all, yeah. You know, it wasn't the smoothest game for Kyle Shanahan and his game plan. I think Arizona threw a few curveballs at him. Two, injuries, yeah, not only at receiver, and I think that's the first thing that jumped out to me when I watched the film. I went, ooh, Arizona, because of the receiver situation, has no fear of these 49ers players. So they were up in their face. That allowed them to crowd the box a little bit, crowd the line of scrimmage, stop the run game. So that didn't ever really get off, right? They stopped that from when Shanahan gets the run game going, then you're screwed as a defense. They made that number one priority to stop that. And you're allowed to do that because of the lack of wide receivers being healthy right now. Then Kittle went out, and that even compounded it even more. And let alone Vance Joseph, who's a good defensive coordinator, threw a few curveballs out. And then also just pure physicality blocking. You know, the 49ers are not up to strength up front either. They got a backup playing right guard, and they got a backup playing center right now. And there was moments in pass protection and run game where you go, oh, well, that's them. They show up where Jimmy had to move. Ooh, somebody's going to be open. I got to move. I got to do something. Bam, I'm out of here. I don't think I'll take away from our main thing we talked about Monday with this game. They controlled the game. They had their foot on the Cardinals' throats. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals were really unable to do anything. They get the block punt. They get a one-play touchdown drive, and that made them feel like, okay, we're in this game. And, you know, we talked about the 49ers then make a great drive, go all the way down the field, and are unable to score from the 1 foot line. Right? So it's 4th and 1. That happens, and then it became a ball game from that point. But I just think overall.
So you went into the game thinking that Jimmy would look worse than he actually did.
No doubt about it. Yes. Okay. I always try to go into the game going, okay, I know my thought, but clean slate. Let's watch the game for what it is. Don't, try to make a reason to make it match what you said on Monday. Okay? Yeah, Monday it didn't look great to me. The film was better. Was it perfect? No. I think the big thing that I take away from Jimmy G and the 49ers in general, if teams are going to play them like that, they got to be more aggressive and take shots down the field. They have to. At the very least, get some pass interference calls. They did get that a little late in the game where they took a shot or two, and I wanted to go, damn, there it is. Yeah, you got to take a shot, one, just to back them off. Two, you know, as we talk about all the time, these DBs, the ball's in the air a long time. They usually choke all to death and, start grabbing or misplay the ball or whatever. So I think that would be one thing that certainly jumps out to me. And then the other thing, and I think this plays into Jimmy Garoppolo's weaknesses a little bit and probably why the Cardinals did it. They probably go, let's take our chances. Give him the deep ball. He's not the best at that. Okay, let's take away the middle of the field. So I said they're playing a lot of man-to-man. Shanahan's smart. He sees that. He starts doing crossers. I think they hit one. Then they start to go back to the well a few times in some obvious passing situations. Cardinals did a good job of we got a guy here. As soon as they crossed, he stopped and he waited for the crosser. And then the same thing on the other side. He waited for the crosser. So then here's Jimmy G dropping back thinking, oh, I got man-to-man. I'm in one of these crossers, and there's guys waiting for him. And then that throws it off. So that's what I mean by curveballs thrown at Shanahan. And my point was saying that is they live over the freaking middle too much. They live over the middle. Got to throw the ball outside the numbers.
Do they have a receiver that can do that?
They do. They do. You don't need a world beater to do that.
So here's who they played.
Yes.
So you got Kendrick Bourne. I looked up the snap counts.
Yes.
Kendrick Bourne played 92% of the snaps.
Yep.
Then they had Dante Pettis,
right.
only 73% of the snaps.
Yep, okay.
And then Trent Taylor, only 34%.
Right, and he's not even 100% Trent Taylor.
They went 2 tight ends 25% of the time.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's probably up from what they did last year, although I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
But those are the 3 top receivers: Kendrick Bourne, Dante Pettis, Trent Taylor. Right now.
Yeah, that's not a scary group. You're right. And Kendrick Bourne and Pettis have enough to win on the outside. Yeah, they're not going to like make DBs like shaking their boots or anything like that. But, conversely, I think this is going to be the next thing, because this is what they did. They played the man-to-man, like I talked about, to help with the run. And then the other thing I saw was quarters coverage. Quarters coverage is a great way to take away the middle of the field. It takes away over the middle slants, crossers, things like that. The safeties don't really worry about behind them. Their first thing is to kind of come up front in quarters coverage, or come up, and also allows them to be more aggressive in the run game, right? When your first few steps are told, all right, we're playing quarters, you play cover 2, the defensive coordinator is going to tell you, safeties, at the snap, I don't give a shit what you see. If you're not backpedaling, you're getting a minus grade. It doesn't matter. Even if you think, oh, it's a run, and it's a run, it's a run, you take your 3 steps backpedaling, because, after a while, they'll get cocky and fly up, and it'll be a play action pass, and it'll be like, hey, it's cover 2, and you're not there, and you're half. So in quarters, that doesn't go. They're allowed to be flat-footed and be aggressive downhill to stop the Shanahan run game. It gives them an extra guy in the box that way. But then it also takes away that Garoppolo, play action pass, come up, and there's Kendrick Bourne over the middle, or Deebo Samuel over the middle, who I know wasn't playing. But that takes away that element. And it's hard to find any space in there, I don't care who you are, when teams are playing you like that. And that's where you have to start going, okay, they got 9 guys right inside the hash marks. I got to start going comebacks, out routes. And we're going to talk about this. There was a number of teams who I saw had this approach on defense. Going into week 1, probably think, let's take away the easy completions.
This quarters approach.
And quarters are flooding the middle of the field.
Okay.
And we'll talk about Kyler Murray in a minute.
Yeah.
49ers took away the middle of the field. They started going, okay, I'll throw a 10-yard out to DeAndre Hopkins. I'll throw a 20-yard out to DeAndre Hopkins. That, to me, is what they're missing. And the big thing that I think I took away, last thing I'll say, with Garoppolo, the reason I think I come in on Monday and go, it wasn't good, and like I said, I still wish it was more crisp. Mm-hmm. There's too many throws that are flat-footed where the lower body is not involved, and that's why it affects his power and his deep ball.
He did get classified, and I always check over at Football Reference.
Yeah,
and they have a service that classifies, bad throws, or good throws.
Yeah.
He did get credited with 11 bad throws.
Yeah.
That was 33% of his passes. That was tied for the most in the NFL with Trubisky and Dwayne Haskins. So there were at least a number, maybe some good throws for Jimmy Garoppolo, but at least some that were classified bad.
Too many slam dunks that you just go, you're too good to miss that throw. Or even throws that end up completions, but the guy has to go to the ground, or he has to turn around to catch it. And you go, damn, if he threw that on the money, the guy's going to run for 20 more yards. Instead, he had to fall down, and it became no yards. So that is an issue with him mechanically that they're going to have to work on. But I think the biggest thing at the end of the game, that just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Because those are slam dunk. Those are wide open. The double move on Patrick Peterson, that was Bourne in the back of the end zone. That was Bourne in the back of the end zone. He's wide open. And that's when I say, when you hear me say the phrase, is just like, let it go, right? Throw it. Let it go.
Let it go. We got people singing.
He's trying to be too perfect, and I'm going to place the ball on the bullseye. And what I want to say is, Kyler Murray, other great throwing quarterbacks, they don't try to place the ball in between the middle of your chest. They try to drive the ball through the target of your middle of the chest. And to me, that's where he messes up, and that's what he did on that play. And then on 2 plays later on the 4th down, same type of thing. Just tries to rhythm throw it out there. And at times, hey, that's cool, but not here. Not in man-to-man, 5-yard out. You got to drive the ball, throw it with authority, and that'll give you your best chance.
So what does Kyle Shanahan do here? Because they signed Mohamed Sanu for a receiver, another weapon there for Jimmy Garoppolo. They got Giants, they got Jets. They're going to stay out here in New York, probably going to party with you at some point.
No, I doubt that. I doubt. I need to call him or text. I haven't talked to Kyle on the phone since like 2 days before training camp.
And you can't call him after a loss like that, right?
No, I don't.
Give it a day.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to call. I don't really call him at all. I just send texts and say, great job, whatever, sorry about that, and he'll call me when he's ready to go.
All right, so what do they do now? So what do they do next 2 games? Is it something where the Giants and Jets can see what the Cardinals did, and if the 49ers don't have an answer for it, it's going to be tough sledding?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see a little bit of, I mean, if you're smart and you're playing Kyle and the 49ers, you look at the Super Bowl one, and you start to look at some of the things that made life hard on Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo last year. And I think the one thing you'll see even in the Minnesota game or the Super Bowl and now week 1 of the NFL regular season, there was a concerted effort to take away the middle of the field. And I think that's where he's going to have to maybe find ways to more to attack outside by the numbers and the out-of-bounds sidelines to, again, widen the defense a little bit. Get everybody away from your run game. Get everybody away from your inside play-action pass game. And he's capable of doing that.
Yeah.
Jimmy G just got to throw the ball a little bit more crisp. There was certainly some dicey decisions. And, again, I'll also say this. You know, I expect this day and age, quarterback's got to make some plays on his own every now and then, too. He does a good job moving in the pocket and making some awkward throws, but I would like to see a little bit more playmaking as far as that's concerned.
Would you buy this for the 49ers?
Yeah.
They, more than most teams, and we hear this from teams from time to time, they need to use the run to set up the pass. They need to be. And the 49ers, I mean, it's almost like running the ball is what they do best.
Yes, right.
And so if they can't do that effectively, Mostert had 56 yards in the game. He was the leading rusher. If they can't do that effectively, is it almost impossible for the 49ers to get it going?
No, but he'll have to find a way to go, okay, how am I going to now use the pass to kind of help out my run game and get everybody off my, my ass or my back as far as that's concerned. And he's going to have to find little creative ways to attack those part of the field. I would think he looked at that film last week and went, damn. Whoa, I mean, Isaiah Simmons is in there, Hicks is in there, Buda Baker's in there, 31, I can't remember his name, the other safety. They're all in the middle of the field. It's too dicey. So he is going to have to go back to the drawing board and find just little ways to attack the edges of these defense so he can stop that. He'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see what he does this week to kind of help that out. And, of course, it doesn't look like they're going to have Kittle. I don't know where that goes.
And it would be, I think it'd be completely different right now if George Kittle had been effective.
I
in the
agree.
second half. He played. He only missed one snap in the game, which is amazing. But they didn't target him after
You didn't even know
halftime.
he was out there, really, if you were really watching.
Good early. And I think if they had him, they probably win that game.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. There was, I think, probably going in this game, some more plays for George Kittle that Shanahan had, with the old screw you, I'm going to kill you with George Kittle here.
Yeah.
And, it just didn't work out. And listen, the other thing, they got a little lucky. I can't lie about that either. They had a few plays here and there where you go, oh, he's going to have it, and the pass protection broke down, going back to the center and the right guard where there was issues there. They had another game plan play in the fourth quarter at one point, Ahmed, and gosh, I think they ended up punting on the drive, but they had they like to do those fake play actions, right? And then Juszczyk goes up the field, right, as fullback. So the linebacker thinks, oh, man, he's coming at me and going to block me. He braces himself, and then the guy just runs by him, and you're like, oh, shit, it's a great play.
Yeah.
I mean, Shanahan invented it. And they hit Juszczyk. A few plays later, they had a similar play with George Kittle, and Garoppolo didn't give it a chance. He got off of it too quick and was, and this is where pressure can affect a quarterback. There was no pressure on this play. He probably could have thrown a touchdown, but he had been pressured a few times during the game. So his internal clock was just a little off, and if he had stayed with it, they probably would have struck one more time. But I'm not totally concerned.
Other side of the ball, do you have notes on Arizona?
Oh, yeah.
Like to share here? Because it wasn't like there were some wild plays from Kyler, and that's what I love to watch.
Yeah.
You watch a football game, you're like, I don't think I've seen a player be able to do that, especially a player his size.
Right.
The running touchdown he had. But it wasn't like they were crushing it.
No.
230 passing yards for Kyler, 151 of those to DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
That was a special matchup.
That was a special matchup. They ran the ball effectively, right? And not necessarily because he's a part of the run game. Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
But you have to take that into account. So there's just him alone gives them schematical advantages. And here's another thing that'll never be on the stat sheet. And this is where this is why I say he's the kryptonite for the 49ers. It's hard to put Kyler Murray in bad positions just from the D-line standpoint where, he can always get himself out of trouble. So they never get, it's hard to get them in 3rd and 20 because he's quick enough to kind of avoid it and, throw it away, or, avoid it, and then he gets a yard or two, and you go, damn, we should have 3rd and 20, and it ended up being 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
And most teams, that's what would happen. Or the strip sack fumbles that happen because of the pressure. You never really get to corral him that way to get the turnover to start that. Or corral him enough to, the pocket's collapsing. Let me throw the ball down the field. There's a guy that's going to be open, and he gets it, so he's throwing the ball, pops in the air, intercepted.
Yeah.
So he limits kind of their greatness to cause chaos in your own offense.
It's like Barry Sanders back in the day where they said some of his greatest runs are
1 yard. But there is some truth to that. There is, because sometimes it's just about, like we always hear that phrase, like, don't beat yourself. A lot of teams beat themselves with the 49ers. They get overwhelmed by the front four, and the game compounds on him.
3rd and 20, and now you're in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's so mature. I mean, for a second-year player, I mean, he really is mature. And, he had a 3rd and 25-yard scramble. Like, you're thinking, like, the 49ers got him. They're dead.
Yeah.
And there he goes, boom, 30-yard run. You go, shit.
So the one time you do get him in a long situation.
He finds a way to get the first down, and he's just so awesome that way. So, okay, let me talk about Hopkins and Murray now.
Yeah, Hopkins and Murray, because they force-fed him, right? 16 targets for him. The next closest was Larry Fitzgerald with 5.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about later on, the Browns, and with Odell Beckham,
right.
You get this new big-time receiver. You got a young quarterback. It's like, we got to make him happy. We got to figure out a way to get him the ball. Cleveland hasn't been able to do that.
No.
But first game in, Arizona was.
Yeah, well, it's more in the DNA of a Cliff Kingsbury, I think, in his offense to get a guy the ball. Like, this is my go-to guy. And, again, we can always have that argument. Is it better to have a committee? Or is it better to have that one guy and then you make everybody stop him, and then that opens up everything? I mean, it's a great conversation. It really is. I'm not saying I know the right or wrong answer to that all the way.
Right.
It is. It's probably both, depending on each scenario. But with this specifically, they force-fed him, especially early. But good for them. They were supposed to. They gave him some screens, a few quick passes early. I mean, early on, I would bet you, I felt like he had like 6 receptions for like 20 yards. And you're just like, okay, cool. They're just getting him going, getting the ball out of their hands so they don't get a strip sack fumble or something crazy happens. They're just trying to manage the game. But then as they started to get a feel for the game, and like I said, San Francisco playing that Seattle scheme, 8 men in the box all the time, I think they just started going, our guy better than your guy. I don't care if Sherman, Mosley, whatever. Our guy is going to scare you, and our other guy at quarterback can throw the ball with the best of them. And they started throwing out routes. They're just going, fine, you're going to give us out here, 10-yard out, 20-yard comeback. They started having that kind of approach, and it opened up the floodgates a little bit to open up the rest of the offense. And it was all basically nickel and dime stuff, other than some of the out routes that I talk about. He threw a quick pass out to the left, and DeAndre Hopkins broke a tackle and sprung up the field for like 20 more yards. And then in the fourth quarter, they had the shallow cross where 49ers had, rushed for it, but it was man-to-man. They got a little pick, and he threw it to DeAndre Hopkins, and he ran down to the 1-yard line, and that was it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was like, oh, man, did they do some amazing stuff with him? But they certainly made him a focal point smartly, and it's a good way to kind of indoctrinate him into the team, the system, and get everybody going.
They made him happy so far. Here's a quote that Hopkins said after the game. I knew we had something special the day I walked into this building. This team works, how Kyler and this team work. I've been around a lot of great people, and Kyler works like it's his last day on this earth. Nothing is a surprise about what happened today. He's complimentary of Kyler Murray. When you played with Deshaun Watson, I don't want to compare the two, and I don't think he was saying it.
No, I don't think he is either.
Slam anyone else. He's just appreciative of how much work Kyler has put in, and you think it shows.
It does show. Just the way he handles himself, the way he's in control in the field. I mean, the way he talks to the coaches. I sometimes look at him and I'm like, man, is he 41 and like won 7 Super Bowls? Like what? He like looks like he's really.
Which is funny because he's kind of a quiet guy.
I know.
Off the field, right? He's kind of a quiet, subdued guy.
Yeah.
But he gets on the field. He's a leader.
He is a leader. That's exactly right. He's a leader. And I think, overall.
Yeah, that offense. So, Cliff.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year last year, you're like, I've got my concerns. I got my doubts. He hasn't done it in the NFL. I see not a ton. As the year went on, you go, okay.
Yes.
He's showing me something.
I'm still saying okay.
You're still.
I like it. I do. Yeah, I saw a few other things. Again, I saw him underneath the center, saw 3 backs in the backfield, some more 2 tight end sets, some other formations. he's a stealer of plays, which he should be, and then he's expanded his own kind of thoughts and how he wants to make some of the stuff he does look a little different. So, yeah, I'm total believer in Cliff Kingsbury all the way there. And, you know, I think the other thing, too, is he's not afraid to just dumb it down, like I said. You know, when they got, like I said, man-to-man or quarters coverage, which a lot of times ends up being like one-on-one on the outside, they said, okay, we'll fine. If that's what you want to give us, our quarterback can throw it out there all day long with accuracy and speed and everything. So I appreciated that. And, you know, there's other guys, they were close. You know, Kenyon Drake does have a good look. Christian Kirk looks good, like he's flying around the field. So that's positive. I know he didn't get like balls, but just the way he looked out on the field.
He did have one catch for
He did have one catch?
yards.
Okay. But either way, yeah, he looked good to me.
It seems like he could have a big year.
I think so. And then, you know, Chase Edmonds in the conversation too.
1-2 punch.
Right. You could put, you know, I believe I saw a few snaps with Drake and Edmonds and Kyler Murray all back there in the backfield at the same time. And, you know, those are two guys that can line up at slot receiver too. So I bet you they continue to toy with that. The biggest thing, though, is it's Kyler Murray. There's no other way to say it.
Yep.
He was the great equalizer in this football game because he saves them and his ability to run and do those things. And then the last thing I'll say is the 49ers got to start to learn their lesson. You know, you're playing Kyler Murray. You can't have a second or third down pass play where he steps up in the pocket and all four defensive linemen are 5 yards behind him. That can't happen. It shouldn't happen. Like if New England played Kyler Murray, which they will later this year, I bet you never see that. They probably won't even freaking rush him. And it takes away an element of his game that really stresses your defense. And I think the 49ers are going to go back to the drawing board when they play them the next time.
49ers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is his Twitter handle. Said, Chris, you coming out of retirement, the Niners could use a quarterback or a defensive coordinator, whichever one you would prefer.
No, they're okay. Don't worry. They're going to be okay. Garoppolo, again, I don't think he's a world beater, but he is plenty good enough for them to win football games. They do got to get healthy. And, yeah, Robert Saleh, there's enough there to where creative blitzes every now and then where I go, okay, that was kind of cool. That was a little outside the realm of the Seattle defense.
We'll give him a pass against Kyler Murray.
We're going to give him a pass. We're going to see where that goes. But their big thing to me could be going forward is their corner play, because their inability to match up man-to-man, and then when they play quarters, like I told you, it becomes man-to-man. I don't think those two on the outside are going to stop very many people. And now Richard Sherman's hurt with the calf injury, which is what happens to older players. It really is, and that'll be a pain in the butt for him to get back from.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.